What if one of the biggest mistakes dog owners make is believing they already understand their dogs, when in reality, they may be misunderstanding them every single day? That is the powerful heart of this article. It explains that many of the beliefs people repeat about dogs, especially about licking, guilt, aging, eating grass, and even what dogs see, are not harmless little myths. They shape the way humans respond to their dogs, and that means they can affect trust, care, and daily life in very real ways. The article argues that the problem is not lack of love. It is the habit of projecting human feelings and human logic onto an animal with its own biology, instincts, and emotional language. When people assume a dog's guilty face means remorse, or that licking is simply a cute kiss, they may miss what the dog is actually trying to communicate. That is why the article pushes readers to move beyond comforting myths and look at dogs more honestly. For dog lovers in Spain, this message feels especially important because it invites a deeper kind of care, one based not on fantasy, but on real understanding. In the end, the article's central message is clear. The more accurately we understand dogs, the more fairly, safely, and lovingly we can live beside them. What if the face you have always read as guilt is not guilt at all, but fear, confusion, and a desperate attempt to calm you down? That is the striking truth behind this part of the article. It explains that when your dog lowers their head, pins back their ears, avoids your eyes, or shrinks into the floor after making a mess, they are not showing moral regret the way a human would. They are reacting to your emotional shift. By the time you notice the torn shoe or the rubbish scattered across the kitchen, your posture has already changed. Your shoulders stiffen, your voice tightens, your scent changes with frustration, and your dog picks up on all of it instantly. In a flat in Madrid or a home in Valencia, the meaning is the same. Your dog is not thinking, "I did wrong 3 hours ago, and now I feel ashamed." Your dog is thinking, "My person is upset right now, and I need to make myself small so this tension does not get worse." That is what makes this section so important. It asks dog owners to stop reading canine behavior through a human moral lens. Guilt requires a complex understanding of right, wrong, and past responsibility. The article argues that dogs live much more in the present moment. Their so-called guilty look is really a submission response, a way of saying, "Please calm down. I am not a threat." The deeper message is powerful. When we stop punishing the face and start understanding the feeling behind it, we become fairer, calmer, and far more compassionate owners. What if your dog has never been seeing a dull black and white world at all, but a world filled with color, just not the same colors you see? That is the fascinating idea behind this part of the article. It challenges one of the oldest and most repeated myths about dogs, the belief that they live in something like an old monochrome film. According to the article, that is simply not true. Dogs do see color, but their vision works differently from ours. While humans have 3 types of color detecting cells, dogs have only 2, which means they see the world through a more limited palette. Blues and yellows stand out clearly, while reds and greens blur into duller tones that can look much more similar to each other. That changes everything when you think about everyday life. A bright red ball thrown across green grass in a park in Madrid may pop visually to you, but to your dog it can blend into the background far more than you realize. That is why dogs often seem to search with their nose instead of racing straight to the toy with their eyes. The article's deeper message is simple but important. Dogs are not visually deficient in some sad, empty way. They just experience the world through a different sensory design, one that relies less on our kind of color contrast and more on movement, brightness, and especially scent. Understanding that difference helps us stop judging their perception by human standards and start appreciating how brilliantly adapted they really are. What if your 2-year-old dog is not 14 at all, but already much closer to a young adult in human terms? That is the eye-opening truth behind this part of the article. It challenges the famous rule that 1 dog year equals 7 human years, explaining that the formula is far too simple to reflect how dogs actually develop. The article points out that a dog's first year of life is incredibly intense. In that short time, a puppy goes from complete dependence to biological maturity, which is nothing like the slow path of a human child. By the end of the first year, the dog is already much closer to a human teenager, and by the second year, they are roughly comparable to a young adult. After that, aging slows down and becomes much less linear than the old myth suggests. The article also stresses that size changes everything. A small dog in Madrid or Valencia does not age at the same pace as a giant breed. Tiny dogs often stay active and healthy much longer, while large dogs can reach their senior stage surprisingly early. That means treating every dog as if they age at the exact same rate can lead owners to misunderstand their real needs, especially around health, energy, and life stage. The deeper message is simple but important. Your dog does not live on a neat mathematical formula. Your dog lives according to a unique biological clock shaped by growth, breed size, and individual development. Once you understand that, each birthday feels less like a joke about multiplying by 7 and more like a meaningful milestone in a life that moves much faster and much more precious than many people realize. What if the moment you see your dog eating grass is not a sign of instant illness at all, but a behavior that may have several very normal explanations? That is the key idea behind this part of the article. It challenges the common belief that dogs only eat grass when they want to make themselves vomit. According to the article, that explanation is far too narrow. Many dogs eat grass without showing any signs of illness beforehand, and most do not vomit afterwards. That means the behavior often has other roots. Sometimes it is simple boredom, the canine version of chewing on something just to pass the time. Sometimes dogs seem to enjoy the texture, moisture, or fresh taste of grass, especially during certain seasons.
Hello, my friend.
The article also points to an older instinct, suggesting that wild canine ancestors may have consumed plant matter as part of their natural diet through prey or scavenging, which could leave a trace in modern dogs today. What makes this section so useful is that it replaces panic with perspective. A dog nibbling grass in a park in Madrid or on a patch of clean lawn in Valencia is not automatically giving you a medical emergency signal. The article does add an important caution, though. The real danger is often not the grass itself, but what may be on it, such as pesticides, herbicides, or parasites. The deeper message is simple and practical. Grass eating is not always a sign that something is wrong, but it should still be observed in context. Understanding the difference helps owners respond with calm, not fear, and care for their dogs more wisely. What if the dry nose you panic over is not a warning sign at all, but simply one of the most misunderstood details in dog care? That is the central idea behind this part of the article. It challenges the old belief that a warm, dry nose automatically means a dog is sick. According to the article, a dog's nose changes throughout the day for many perfectly ordinary reasons. If your dog has just woken up from a nap in Madrid, spent time lying in the sun in Valencia, or been resting near a heater, their nose may naturally feel warmer and drier than usual. Even mild dehydration or seasonal allergies can change the moisture level without meaning there is a serious health problem. In other words, the nose alone is a very poor thermometer. What makes this section so helpful is that it teaches owners to stop focusing on one dramatic little signal and start looking at the whole dog instead. The article suggests asking better questions. Is your dog eating normally? Are they energetic or unusually tired? Are the gums pink? Is there thick discharge, bleeding, or cracking around the nose? Those broader signs tell you far more about real health than simple dryness ever could. The deeper message is practical and reassuring. Good care does not come from reacting to myths. It comes from paying attention to the full picture. A dry nose may sometimes deserve monitoring, but by itself, it is usually just a dry nose, not a reason to assume the worst. What if the goal is not to wear your dog out, but to truly fulfill them? That is the powerful idea behind this part of the article. It challenges the popular belief that a tired dog is automatically a happy dog. The article agrees that physical exercise matters, of course, but it warns that exhaustion and happiness are not the same thing. A dog can be physically drained and still feel mentally understimulated, frustrated, or stressed. Running a dog endlessly, throwing the ball until they collapse, or relying only on long walks may create a stronger athlete, but not necessarily a more balanced companion. What dogs really need, according to the article, is a combination of movement and mental engagement. A dog living in Madrid, Valencia, or anywhere else in Spain does not just need to burn energy through the body. They also need their mind to work. Scent games, food puzzles, hide and seek, learning a new cue, or solving small challenges can tire a dog in a deeper and healthier way than pure physical effort alone. The article even suggests that a short period of focused nose work can be more satisfying than a much longer session of repetitive running. That is because dogs are not machines built only for motion. They are thinkers, problem solvers, and scent-driven explorers. The deeper message is simple and important. A fulfilled dog is not one that collapses from fatigue. A fulfilled dog is one whose body has moved, whose brain has worked, and whose day has felt rich, interesting, and emotionally satisfying. Real happiness comes from balance, not burnout. What if one of the saddest beliefs dog owners keep repeating is also one of the most damaging? The idea that an older dog is somehow finished learning? That is the powerful truth behind this part of the article. It challenges the old saying that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks, calling it not only wrong, but unfair. According to the article, older dogs still have the ability to learn because their brains remain capable of forming new pathways throughout life. In fact, senior dogs can sometimes learn better than puppies. They are often calmer, less distracted, and more able to focus on the person in front of them. A puppy in Madrid may be pulled away by every sound, smell, and moving leaf, while an older dog in Valencia may already have the patience and attention span to stay present and understand what is being asked. The article also gives this idea a deeper emotional meaning. Teaching an older dog is not only possible, it is valuable. New cues, puzzle games, and simple training sessions do more than entertain them. They help keep the mind active and may even support cognitive health as the dog ages. That means training is not just for obedience or fun. It can become a form of care. The deeper message is beautiful. Age does not erase curiosity, worth, or the ability to grow. A gray muzzle is not the end of learning. Sometimes it is the beginning of a gentler, wiser kind of connection between a dog and the person still willing to teach. What if every time your dog licks you, they are doing far more than giving a sweet little kiss? That is the central idea behind this part of the article. It explains that licking is indeed connected to affection, but reducing it to a simple human-style kiss misses most of what is really happening. In the canine world, licking is a layered behavior. It can be a bonding ritual, a sign of submission, a way to soothe themselves through endorphin release, and at the same time an intense form of information gathering. When your dog licks your hand after a walk in Madrid or your arm while you relax at home in Valencia, they may be expressing closeness, but they are also reading you. Your skin carries salt, scent, and chemical signals that tell your dog where you have been, how you feel, and what is happening in your body. In other words, they are not only loving you, they are analyzing you too. The article also adds an important reality check. Licking should not be romanticized too much. Dog saliva is not magically clean, and obsessive licking is not always affection. If a dog keeps licking you, furniture, or itself excessively, that can point to stress or anxiety rather than simple love. The deeper message is both practical and compassionate. A lick can mean affection, curiosity, comfort-seeking, and emotional regulation all at once. Once you understand that, you stop seeing licking as just a cute habit and start seeing it as one of the most complex ways your dog communicates with you. What if one of the biggest mistakes dog owners make is turning licking into a purely romantic gesture and forgetting that it also carries real hygiene and health risks? That is the important caution at the center of this part of the article. It explains that while licking can absolutely be tied to bonding, information gathering, and emotional comfort, dog saliva is not some magical healing substance. In fact, the article directly pushes back against the popular myth that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. Dogs use their mouths for everything, grooming themselves, licking dirty surfaces, sniffing and licking other dogs in very intimate places, and picking up things from the ground. That means their saliva can carry bacteria that may be harmless in some situations but risky in others, especially for people with weak immune systems or open wounds. In a flat in Madrid or a family home in Valencia, the message is the same. Letting a dog lick your hand occasionally is one thing, but allowing repeated licking on the face, around the mouth, or on broken skin should be treated more carefully. The article's deeper point is not anti-dog at all. It is simply asking owners to balance affection with realism. Love does not mean pretending every behavior is harmless. It means understanding your dog honestly and responding in a way that protects both of you. In the end, the article reminds us that real empathy includes both emotional understanding and practical wisdom. What if the biggest barrier between you and your dog is not lack of love, but the comforting myths you keep believing about them? That is the deeper message behind this part of the article. It argues that many dog owners do not misunderstand dogs because they are careless, but because they keep interpreting canine behavior through a human lens. We call licking kisses, mistake a submissive posture for guilt, assume a dry nose means illness, or believe that exhaustion automatically equals happiness. The problem, according to the article, is that these myths make us respond to dogs in ways that feel logical to us, but not necessarily fair, helpful, or accurate for them. Dogs are not little humans in fur coats. They are animals with their own biology, instincts, sensory systems, and emotional patterns. When we forget that, even our affection can become distorted by projection. For dog lovers in Spain, whether in a flat in Madrid or a home in Valencia, this message matters because real empathy begins where fantasy ends. The article invites readers to stop romanticizing dogs in shallow ways and start respecting them more honestly. That means looking at behavior through science, context, and canine needs rather than through old sayings or human emotion alone. The deeper truth is simple and powerful. Understanding a dog for what it truly is, rather than for what we imagine it to be, is one of the purest forms of love we can offer. The deeper purpose of this article is to help dog owners move beyond myths and start understanding their dogs with more honesty, empathy, and wisdom. It is not just trying to correct a few popular misunderstandings about guilt, licking, dry noses, grass eating, or aging. It is asking readers to see how these myths shape the way we treat dogs every single day. When we assume a dog feels guilty like a human, or believe licking is only a cute kiss, or think physical exhaustion automatically means happiness, we risk missing what the dog is actually communicating. For dog lovers in Spain, whether in a flat in Madrid or a home in Valencia, this message matters because real love grows stronger when it is grounded in truth. The article encourages people to stop projecting human meanings onto dogs and instead learn the real language of canine biology, instinct, and emotion. In the end, its real aim is simple and powerful: to help people become more informed, more compassionate, and more respectful companions, so their dogs can be understood not as imaginary versions of humans, but as the remarkable animals they truly are. Love becomes deeper when we stop insisting that others feel the world the way we do and start learning how to understand them on their own terms. Sometimes, the greatest kindness is not being adored, but being truly understood. If this touched your heart, write in the comments which myth about dogs surprised you most, and tell me your dog's name too. And if you want more heartfelt, eye-opening content that helps you understand your dog on a deeper level, subscribe to the channel and join our community of dog lovers.